Good afternoon, everyone. Philip from Blackpool Markets. I hope you're all doing well. Just another market update for you. So in this one, we'll be going through the patterns we were looking, or the charts we were looking at in the previous video that I made. My colleague has recently released a video, I believe, on the fundamentals of sort of what's going on in the market. So do give that a look and let us know if you do enjoy it. Let us know in the comments as well what your thoughts are as well. For this one, again, back to the technicals. Like I said, a recap of what we looked at last time. So a couple of pairs, including the gold, a couple of Aussie pairs, and some of the Euro pairs as well. So we'll dive straight into it, and we'll see what happened. So again, we are here at the AUD CAD. This is a 4-hour chart. So we were looking at this channel over here. You can see it has broken and sort of came to retest that area. So a lot of people would have probably taken a short position here. For me personally, I believe there's a lot of traffic to the left side. So by traffic, I mean there's all this consolidation areas over here. So there are always these sort of zones to keep in mind when you do take a trade. Always make sure to look to the left side of the chart so you can see or sort of expect, if the market will consolidate or not. So you can see it has given us a bit of a support here. So it is a very contradicting area. We can sort of expect to not see any clear moves until it, I would say, completely breaks out of this area over here. We might see some uncertainty where this wick was as well. And also, if we do break further to the upside, we do have this section of consolidation as well. So at the moment, it's just in a bit of a mess. So I would wait until it sort of breaks out of these areas before looking at taking anything. Obviously, if you want to trade on the lower time frames, like your 15 minutes, you can as well, trading it from trend line to trend line or from zone to zone. But I would not trade it in between these zones. But this previous zone over here showed quite nice moves. So this could be a good area to trade on the lower time frames. But again, you can see in these sections over here, we can see it's not very ideal. It's a lot of very sort of spiky movements. So I would try to avoid these areas. Moving on to our Aussie CAD, Aussie Swiss franc. So we had this sort of pendant or wedge to the upside. We can see it has now broken out over there, gave a bit of a retest on that line and continued further downwards. So this is the 4-hourly chart. So hopefully we can see some kind of continuation downwards. We do have all these support areas that it is hitting. So you can see here it has offered a previous resistance, a bit of consolidation around this area, and now again it looks like it's offering support. So obviously if we keep going to the downside, we can look at all these key areas for potential take profit targets or even potential trade areas as well to change direction of this move. So as we can see on the daily, the strength is sort of to the downside. So we can sort of expect it, look for moves to continue through these areas. And as we move, we can look for potential take profit targets or again re-entries if you did miss the previous moves. Moving on to our Aussie Japanese yen. So again, we were looking at the zone that we're looking to break. Also on the 4-hourly chart, we were looking at it. So you can see it did break and sort of came back into the zone. So we can actually, I would say, we can pull this zone up a little bit more. And this probably on the higher time frame looks. You can see it's sort of the wicks of it. The bodies of the candles did not quite reach outside of that zone, and then kind of sort of come back into it again. So here on the 4-hour, so again we have this bit of a consolidation zone. We won't be quite happy until it does breach this area. So there was a bit of a false breakout here, but it's okay. You could have managed your stop losses quite tightly. So again, we look for a re-entry. You can see here, I'll just get rid of this area, and you can see here it has actually reached a very nice support zone. So I mean, this could have been a break and a retest, and we could see it potentially move higher. If it does break lower further to the downside, we can sort of look at all these other areas for potential support structures. And also once it breaks there, we do have a nice free movement space over here. Also, like I mentioned previously, you can expect a bit of uncertainty where these wicks are, as it was not quite a move. It's a bit of a people are not sure usually how to react due to these things. So we'll see what happens. Either break to the tops or bounce to the top side, or a break to the downside would be good for us. And moving on to our Canadian Japanese yen. Again, on the 4-hourly bar chart, you can see it looks quite similar to the Aussie yen. You can see again we've had this consolidation zone, a break of the zone, a retest of it, and we can see a possible move to the upside, or if it does break, also a similar move to the downside, reaching, waiting for it to break out of the zone and then continue further to the downside, or even past to the point of this wick to see a further move. So again, very similar. So just to keep an eye on that as well. Moving on to our Euro GBP. And there we go. So again, we were talking about this triangle pattern forming. So it's still forming inside of this pattern. Like I mentioned, if it breaks this E wave, we can start to look for a different sort of structure to complete itself. If it breaks past a C wave, we do know it has completely been invalidated. We will know to look for a different sort of completely different structure, redo the count. But if you're trading it just as technical analysis, not Elliott wave analysis, we could see a break and even take it as a potential trade to the downside. Do keep in mind though, however, if it does break to the downside, we have this previous support areas that we do have, and also a bit of a consolidation zone over here. Break to the top side, we obviously again have these key areas, so you can see a bit of a double top that we've had here. If it moves up higher, we can see here this that sort of cause another resistance area. So these are key levels. So like I said, breaks past the C wave, we do know for sure that the Elliott wave pattern has been invalidated. We will need to look for a different count. If you want, you can trade it like a normal technical analysis pattern and trade it like a just your general symmetrical triangle. And either way, it breaks. So that could be a bit of too good sort of analysis you can use for this Euro GBP. Again, it's a weekly chart, so it could play out as a more longer time frame trade. Holding these trades for even up to a month. All depends on what your psychology is used to, or what what sort of trading style you would like to use. And moving on to our Euro NZ dollar. So again, we were looking at this area of support. You can see it has retested it, made a very nice big candle to the upside, gave a bit of resistance on this area over here. You can see with that wick touching it, and also past this breakout, we can see we've had like a bit of all the way to that base of that wick. You can see we've had a bit of consolidation around that area, now moving further to the upside. So this was a very good bounce area for the trade. So if anyone did take the trade, congratulations. And we also have a very nice sort of wedge patterns forming here. Not the prettiest one, but it is close enough for me. So we could wait for a potential breakout here to take the trade. It is on a very strong resistance area, as you can see. So we will have a look. It keeps retesting the zone. So maybe we could see a break to the downside, which will be very nice, and we can take it again all the way down to this key support area of around about 1.67151 that I have here. If it does break to the upside, we could look for this key area over here. You can see it has caused previous resistance as well, so we can see just like that. There we go. Consolidation here, attempt to break out. Again, an attempt to break out, came back in the zone, caused it to give it a bit of resistance. Again, resistance over here, did not quite make it and came back down. So we could see if it does break to the top, a nice move to that area, 60 pip move to that area, which will be quite nice. Moving on to our Euro US dollar. So again, this is the daily time frame. We were looking at this channel, still moving in the channel, so nothing much happened here. Again, looking for a break out of that channel. If it does break either to the up or to the downside, we could look at all these potential areas. But as it is on the daily, this could take a couple of weeks, even a month or so, for this pattern to complete. You can see this is a very nice support area as well. So if it does break to the downside, we could see possible support here and get rejected and move it back into this sort of zone we have here. But if you want to trade on a shorter time frame, you can always do that. So daily down to the 4 hourly or even the hourly. Some people even like to trade the 30-minute chart as well. So you can see here we've had a bit of a false breakout. So we'll see what happens. So by false breakout, I mean let me quickly explain it to you. So use this white line. So you can see it has tested the support area, created a nice support. It broke out, it broke back through that zone. So if we go to the 4-hourly, you can see there that wick is sort of trying to break out and went back through it and closed above that zone. This is what we call a false breakout or a fake out. It breaks through, comes back into that zone. You can see it has used that zone as a support area, so we could see now potential move to continue up further higher back into the zone. You can see here on the daily time frame, you can see it barely broke it, so we can see like these false breakouts of the zone of the wicks. So you can see that would possibly give us another indication that it could continue in the zone, giving a very nice trade on the shorter time frames as well. And moving on to our NZD CAD, let's see what the Kiwi is doing. So here we're looking at the weekly time frame, still moving slowly down towards that level we have here, or the target we have to complete that head and shoulders pattern. As we can see here, left shoulder, well, a bit of an inverse head and shoulder. So left shoulder, neckline, the head, neckline again, moving down to that right shoulder. So hopefully we can see this pattern unfold. Be quite nice to see. I'll keep an eye on this and keep updating you guys on these patterns to see if to see what happens with them. So you guys, just to show you guys as well how powerful technical analysis is as well. So like I mentioned, down to the zone. If it does break, we can see a great move moving down to this low over here. If it bounces, it'll follow that. Hopefully follow that head and shoulders pattern very nicely. Move up, have a bit of consolidation here, but you can see that zone wasn't quite followed quite nicely over here. So hopefully if we see this bounce, a nice strong breakthrough to continue. So we could have potentially two areas of entering. So we can have that first area on the right shoulder. You can enter there, and again you can take some profits here. If it does move past this level, look again to enter and trade it all the way up to this key area where it sort of started this head and shoulders pattern. So again, on the weekly time frame, so it can be a very long trade, again a couple of months that it could take to complete this whole structure. So it has a lot of trades for us, or a lot of potential pips for us to make on this trade if you were looking to take them. Moving on to our very last pair, which is the gold XAU USD. 4-hourly time frame. Last time we were looking at it, we had this consolidation zone that we're looking for it to break, to move down to this area over here, and it has done that actually very nicely. Very good bounce, strong bounce, pretty much exact on where the last one was. So this could maybe indicate it to continue further up with this trend. As we can see, gold is currently on the daily time frame in a very strong uptrend. On the weekly time frame, a bit of consolidation, so it almost looks like it's going to form a bit of a triangle. So we'll see what happens. Monthly, not that much data. So back to the 4-hourly time frame, you can see the daily, you can see nice strong uptrend. So hopefully it continues. We can see a bit of resistance that it has caused here. Actually, let me draw this as a zone, just more of a zone here. So you can see we've had consolidation here. So this could be, you can see it keeps trying to test this zone consistently. So you can hopefully, I mean, we'll see what happens if it does break into the zone. Again, expect a bit of consolidation before it breaks out. So keeping in mind that it is on a daily time frame, so it could look a bit nicer if you really wanted to trade on the hourly time frames, but previous history shows not too nice. So back to the 4-hourly, we could possibly take a couple of trades on the shorter time frames to move it up to the zone. Again, use the zone to trade further down. So we'll see. But again, if it breaks, so we could see very nice moves to the downside. There's not a lot of traffic, if any at all. So if we do have a break, we could see very nice moves, hopefully down to this 1, 2, 3, 8 level. I'll be way more satisfying if it was a 4. It's okay. So 1, 2, 3, 8, 1, 2, 3, 7 level. Be a very good move to the downside. So obviously, if we go to our shorter time frames, you can see we will have a little bit of a stall on the way. So a couple of these corrections, but I mean nothing major. If you were going to trade on the daily time frame, you'll be used to these sort of up and downs, sort of slowly moving markets as you do trade when there's not a lot of movement. So usually the most movement in the market is when the market's open. So like your US Open, your Euro Open, or just before the close as well, US Open, Euro close, Asian Open, Australian Open not so much. But yeah, usually the major markets give a lot of movement, and then it slows down as we progress through the days. So you can see this usually is what these consolidation times are. But I mean, if, like I said, if you're a swing trader, you're used to these sort of things, and you should be able to ride it out. If you're someone who's quite new to swing trading, it's going to happen. Just something you need to learn to get used to. Have a bit of patience with your especially your winning trades. I would not say have patience with your losing trades. If you feel uncomfortable with a losing trade, I would suggest cutting it short, closing the trade, because you'll always have another chance to re-enter a trade, and there'll always be another trade. So rather have patience with your winning trades. They could potentially go into further profits. Even if you were looking at locking in some trades or locking in some profits, you could partially close your positions. Yes, I mean, there are a lot of options. So, but again, for swing trading, you should just learn to get used to these sort of almost, I want to say, hiccups, sort of slow times of the market. But like I said, this is a very good zone to move down to. We'll just remove these as they're very insignificant areas. I would say actually this section right over here could cause a bit of support, but other than that, this is your major area. And obviously you can see once it breaks here, we enter into quite a lot of levels. So we can see here resistance, 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 support, false breakout. It looks like a bit of a head and shoulders we've had here to the upside. So everyone, sorry, so I just realized when I finished recording that video, the mic did cut, so I was pretty much just explaining everything, what we're looking at anyway. But yeah, just wanted to say, if you guys did enjoy that video, do give us a thumbs up. Click that subscribe button to be the first to be notified of whenever we release a new video. So subscribe button followed by the bell icon actually. If you want guys get in contact with us, please do so. You can go to blackbullmarkets.com, click the little green button at the top that says live chat, and our team will be there waiting for you. If you want to contact us via email over the weekends, please do so. You can email support@blackbullmarkets.com. And we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So hopefully that doesn't happen again, but thank you very much for watching, and from everyone here at Black Bull Markets, safe trading.